do you want to control your life? Do you want to make more money? And I was like, that's it, right? Yes, that's all they had to say, right? I'm like, yes. So they're saying, come to this seminar tomorrow at 1:00. And I'm like, I'm writing it down on this like napkin, because I don't want my girlfriend to see this. And I'm like writing the, location down. It's in Dallas, Texas. Actually, it was in Dallas. And so I lied to my girlfriend. I told her I was going back home, and I went to this seminar, and I'm sitting there in the room full of strangers, and they're doing this whole pitch for an hour and a half on teaching people how to buy and sell broker real estate notes and real estate. And I'm like, this is great. I can do this. I don't have to work for anybody. This is awesome. And then they said, well, it's $3,000. And I'm like, well, I don't have that. And then they said, this is one of those few moments I'm like, I'm so glad I'm a woman. For your spouse, it's only $1,000. So I nudged the stranger next to me. I'm like, hey, can I be your spouse? And he's like, sure. What's your name? I don't even remember his name. So we went to the back of the room, and I give him my credit card. I'm like, I'm his spouse, and they're like, yeah, right. I mean, they knew I was lying. Different last name. I didn't have a ring on, different address, different credit card, the whole thing. I mean, so obvious. But they didn't care. They wanted my money, right? They're like, they knew that if they made me pay $3,000, I would say, well, I can't do it. So they're like, sure, spouse, John, whatever. So what's interesting is that it was a $3,000 seminar that was the next weekend. And so I showed up in Dallas. I'm all like, I'm going to be a millionaire, and I'm going to run my own company. And my spouse didn't show up. So I show up, and they're like, your spouse, John, isn't here. And I'm like, I don't know. So they let me sit in for 3 days. And that's how my entrepreneurship world got started. I actually, the company, the people who were running the event were like watching me, like, who's this chick? Like, what's her deal? We know she's lying her butt off. So they tapped me on the shoulder, and they had a conversation with me, and they basically offered me a job to travel the country and basically do what they were doing, helping people start entrepreneurship journeys. So that's what I did. That's what I did.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how I got started in this lovely business. So it's interesting because I really opened myself up to all I knew. What people always ask me, like, what'd you do? I'm like, all I knew is it's like not that. You know what I mean? It was like, all I knew is like not that. And now I'm open to anything. And that just kind of showed up, and it changed my life. I moved to Florida, and I got into the information marketing business. I started traveling the country nonstop, and I produced over 450 seminars and events in 7 years. And I really learned the art of sales face to face. I learned the art of copywriting. I learned the art of speaking in front of crowds, and selling. And so now I take all those skills and put it online, which is the same, So yeah, that's how I got my start in this entrepreneurship world.
Wow, that's really amazing, there, because you basically did what you had to do in a sense to get to where you wanted to go. So basically, I got access because you actually, you did like you mentioned beforehand, like you sold other people's products during that time, but then you made your very first sale on your own product in 2009. But I'm going to read what you mentioned in your podcast. You said that promoting your own work, and artists have a hard time in promoting their own work. And of course, you said that when you promoted yourself, you sold your first dollar. You went from being a salesperson to promoter. So can you share with us how we can overcome that fear of selling our own products or services to make a sale?
Yeah. So I love the fact that you have done so much homework on me. It's super cute. I feel so stalked. It's good. No, I love it. Thanks. It's interesting. What I was kind of sharing about that was I spent years in the information industry, seminar industry, where I I was selling someone else's stuff. You know what I mean? Even in corporate world, I was selling the company stuff. The company would say, here's what we have, and you go sell it. And then like you go do it. When you're working for yourself and you're peddling or whatever, your own products, if you have an information marketing product or a book or whatever, this is my art, right? This is my art. And people get really weird about selling their own art. Like if this was somebody else's book, I'd be like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. He's amazing. It's so much easier to promote somebody else or some other work or the company's work. You know what I mean? Because there's almost like a confidence to it that's there. You don't feel like you have to own it. When it's your work, your art, okay, people get all weird internally. Like, oh, I don't want to be, I don't want to be too pushy. I don't want to put it out there. What if they don't like it? And it's like, this is my art. It's almost like I'm selling me. And people get really weird when they're selling themselves. That's why that people hate going on interviews, because in an interview, you're selling yourself. And thank God sometimes people don't even have to do 4 or 5 of those in their lifetime, much less do it every day. So if I have an information marketing product, I found that selling someone else's was like so much easier. The moment I started selling myself and made my first dollar, there was like this change of I became from a salesperson, just, selling whatever, to promoting myself. I'm a promoter now. It's a very different mindset, and I the great example of this, I think, is like lawyers. Everyone, every city, every town has like the lawyer dude. You can name him off the top of your head because you've seen his billboard everywhere. You've seen his stupid commercials 1,000 times. I think it's Adler in Houston. Like I still remember. I think it's Adler. Yeah, it's Adler. Because I mean, he was grained in my head when I was 10. So Adler, and they're still around. So there's always that lawyer that's just a promoter, and then all the other lawyers hate him, right? Because they're like, how can they do that and promote? They're so horrible, because they know that it's in the promotion that they can sell. And lawyers are like, they're artists. You know what I mean? They really are artists. They're just representing laws, and then they get to like spin it. So it's the same thing. And I find it, anybody that's a creator of information marketing products, they've created widgets, they're a lawyer, whatever, they have a really hard time promoting themselves. And then when they see other people really do well, they get jealous. I'm like, how dare they promote their art? They're so horrible, but they're making more money than them. So like, then they ask, well, how can I do it? And it's that mind shift from sales to promotion. It literally is an upgrade, yeah. So that was what I meant by that. And it really is a mind shift, try it yourself. Try to just sell someone else's book, and it's like so easy, but then like go out and start peddling your own book, and you're like, oh, it's weird, so you'll find the difference, and that's what you have to overcome.
Definitely agree with you. I mean, I'll be honest, it does feel a little icky, self-promotion, because it's like, because I kind of know how it is in some sense, see people self-promoting, but it's important. But at the same time, it's almost like you got to, try to be a giver. Like, you're solving other people's problems, but you got to do it in a way that you can at least not be too promoted per se.
Yeah, it's really like a little art. Do you need to go?
No, you're good. No, you're good.
It's an art. It really is like a shift of self-promotion versus sales. And most sales training, they talk about sales training, and I've been through all of those. Most sales training come from a process, and they're helping you sell, these widgets, these other people's products. And a good salesperson can sell you anything. I laugh at these particularly because I was sold 2 of these by this guy in Vegas, and I was like, God, I'm such a sucker. You're so good. I was literally like, because every good salesperson loves to be sold to. And when a good salesperson is being sold to by another salesperson, like there's this kind of like respect in the art. You know what I mean? I'm like, I told the guy, I'm like, dude, you're so good. I have to buy them from you because you're good. And it pisses me off that you're that good. He was putting them on me and turning them on, and it was everything. And I thought to myself, the art of sales really has kind of dwindled, and they put it online and go, oh, social media is selling. I'm like, no, that's BS. That's crap. Social media doesn't sell anything. It's like a billboard doesn't sell anything, right? It's in the promotion of the engagement that starts the selling process, and the self-promotion. So, yeah. Anyway.
So speaking of that there, how can we use the fact that, many are using social media as a way to self-promote and they're not really engaging. How can we change that mindset to where we use social media to build that audience per se, build trust that kind of leads to naturally to them to trust in us and then want to buy from us?
Okay, so a couple things with social media, and I'm not a social media expert, but I mean, it's still marketing. So social media, I look at social media as what I call constant engagement. So this is again, I'm going to go back to old school Yellow Pages. Old school. Okay. Yellow Pages, or it's like old, take it back to 1999. And Yellow Pages, people always say, well, why would I get an ad, Yellow Pages? It's like, it's the consistency. It's because when they need you and that plumber, boom, you need to be there, kind of thing. It's like, you don't know when someone needs the doctor, the lawyer, the chiropractor, or whatever. So it's the same thing with social media. It's what I call keeping inside the engagement all the time, so that when all of a sudden when someone's like, I need that, bam, I remember seeing so-and-so's ad forever and a day, like Adler and Adler. The fact that I remember that stupid law firm in Houston's insane. I remember the guy in the hat and the whole thing, right? So if I needed he's a personal injury attorney, of course. If I need a personal injury attorney in Houston, who do you think I'm going to call? You know what I mean? It's going to be Adler and Adler's because they're ingrained in my head. So it's promotion there's two pieces of that. One is the engagement, the constant being in front of people. And that is, the billboards is now social media. The Yellow Pages is now social media. Okay. Or back in the day, newspaper ads is now the new social media. It's the consistency of constantly seeing it. It's now social media. And so people get all weird about that too. Like for me, if you go on my Twitter feed and if you literally like follow the feed day and every hour, which people don't, I'm posting like every 20 minutes, and people you'd think, oh my God, that's too much. Well, it's because no one's staring at my page. It's not like they're just staring every second, because Twitter is like this feed. It's just constant. And I want to be in front of people as much as I possibly can. You know what I mean? So I know that it doesn't freak people out versus like a Facebook. If I posted every 20 minutes, people would unfriend me every 5 seconds. It's a different kind of medium. So you have to look at the medium. Let's go to TV for a second. I mean, how many times do you see the same car commercial within 1 hour of the news? You probably see it 2, 3, 4 times. People don't get mad at that, right? They don't get mad at that. It depends on the medium. Makes sense? So you have to just keep that in mind. And that's part of the it's part of the promotion process. It's that part of that promotion process. You know what I mean? You're always in their face. So they'll remember you when they need you. Like in Austin, there's this one ad. I think I've seen it for 10 years. Like there's the guy behind the bars and he's all upset and he's like in a tie and it says DWI, call 555-5555. It's for a bond, if you get in jail. And that day, I mean, I've never been caught by I've never been DWI and I don't drink and drive, but if I did, I remember that guy. If I'm slipping in this hanger, I remember this stupid ad, the guy doing this, and it's 555-5555, call if you're in, so it's part of the process of just consistently putting it out there, and when they need you, they'll know who to call.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about like live video, because basically, you host your own podcast as well, which I really respect a lot. But what really intrigued me even more is the fact that I listened to an episode when Winnie's son, was on your podcast, and you actually recorded here on Blue Jeans Network, and that really intrigued me. So basically, I want to ask you, why do you think that entrepreneurs who are quote unquote podcasters should at least consider like recording their shows on live stream, like on live video, especially like here on like Blue Jeans Network, and also and also Facebook Live.
So a couple things, right? So he's talking about is I do interview podcasting, and then I do them on Blue Jeans first, and then I extract it, right? So a couple things. One is what's really weird about my podcast is that I did Winnie's, and then her show didn't come out till like, I don't know, 2 months, because I'm ahead of schedule on my podcast, right? I'm really ahead of schedule. So I do it raw. It's totally unedited, right? Live it's raw, and people see it, whatever. It's an engagement piece. She shares it on her page, and so people see it. And then she shared it on her Twitter, which she's got an extremely great following on Twitter. Then 2 months later, when it comes out again, then she's promoting it again, right? So it's this constant engagement process. Not everyone loves video. Not everyone likes to watch video, right? Some people like to only audio. They're on the go. They're not sitting at their desk all day. They're not going to watch a Facebook video, right? They're just not. But they might see, oh, it's Heather and Winnie, and that goes in their head. And then later they see it again and they go, oh, there it is on audio. I'll go grab it. So it's different modalities. Old school, again, going back to old school, when you're taught at a young age, everyone learns differently. Some people are auditory, some people are visual, some are kinesthetic. So the video is more kinesthetic in a little bit, and then it's also more visual, but the podcast is audio. So you want to get people in all modalities you possibly can. And that's part why I did that.